Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great time. I recently found myself sitting on my bed just reminiscing some old memories and remembered some crazy chain of coincidences I had gone through in like 2019. But first, in the back, I'm drawing a second prompt for this year's Drawtober challenge. Shapeshifter, it's a werewolf. I tried to capture the transformation halfway through to give it a more shapeshifter feel. The challenge has been a nice change of pace from my usual work on my commissions and the webcomic. And for those who don't know, I publish a webcomic every second Monday called Harbinger. It's currently only on Webtoon at the moment, but I'll leave a link to it in the description for anyone who wants to check it out. It is a mature series, so heads up. Now, on with the story. So to give things context, we're gonna have to travel back in time a little. Yay, time travel. When I was attending college, that's when we're going to. So I was getting through my program, as most of us do, and it dawned on me that I would need to choose an extra class that was not in my program. I forget what they're actually called, supplementary classes or something, I forget. But I'm not sure how it works elsewhere, but yeah, over here we have our main classes, and then we need to take several classes that are not in our program to, I guess, diversify our learning or whatever. In any case, I chose to go with language since I figured, you know what, it's always better to know more than one, and well, I already spoke English and French, so I figured I'll take on a new one. It's always good to have a third. Why not? After some consideration, I eventually settled on German, which, you know what? Figured it was close enough to English, so it would make learning it a whole lot easier, and I liked how it sounded. It was very sharp, very punchy. So I enrolled in those classes and began to enthusiastically learn the language. Actually got on rather well with it, though. It wasn't too difficult, and I also had really great teachers, so I actually became fairly decent in my spoken German. Not fluent, obviously, but as I was only allowed to take 2 of the 4 classes, because I was not in a language major. I wasn't eligible for those, but meh, whatever. I still learned enough to get by. Let's cut to a bit later here now. I'm having coffee at my mom's, and we got into a discussion on education and future plans and stuff. I had mentioned that I could speak some basic German, not fluently, but if you dropped me in Germany, I would get around and be able to talk to people without much issue. My mother, for whatever reason, jumped at that, saying, "Why did you learn German? That's not going to help you with anything here. Like, nobody speaks German here." Now, she may have been sort of correct on that again, but I didn't care. I wanted to, and this is where things start to get kind of weird. You see, after that conversation, the universe decided to slap me in the face with all the benefits of knowing that language in the span of 6 months. Here's kind of what I mean. So when I began to work in the paint shop, I became the color matcher. I had mentioned this in a previous video. I was a color matcher for this company, and they eventually had to introduce me to the sample department, with whom I would be working with very closely, because colors and samples, right? That's what you do. Now, running the sample department was this nice German man. So to his surprise, I could understand and speak with him quite often in his language, and apparently with a Bavarian accent. Apparently that's what I sounded like. I don't know. But anyway, we became work buddies, and we got along very quickly, very well. Yay, instant commonality. Then I was scheduled eventually to have a 2-week vacation. So for the first week, I decided that I was going to take a trip to Cuba. Now, I was supposed to go with some friends, but everyone had to eventually pull out of the trip or bail for personal reasons or whatever, things that came up, and I ended up being the only one still going on this trip. So I said, you know what, I want to go, so I'm going to go. Even though I ended up going alone, it was still going to be a good time. That was my mentality. I was just going to have fun with it. So the trip finally comes around, and I was off to Varadero. I got off the plane, got on my bus, and was transported to my hotel. To my surprise, there were several Germans chatting on the bus near me. I did not say anything to them. I didn't just start up a conversation randomly. I mean, I could have, but I was like, yeah, whatever. It's okay. I'm just gonna chill here and one thing at a time, get booked at the hotel and go on from there. But I really started thinking wow, good thing I speak a bit of German. Maybe make some friends here if there's more of them. Sure enough, we got to my hotel. All the Germans on the bus got off with me. That's when I realized I had booked my stay at the Blau Hotel, the German word for blue. I didn't realize it at first, but that was what I was booking the trip, but I had booked my stay at a, I guess, German hotel. Then I got all sorted, and I quickly realized that it was mostly just Germans staying there. I'm not even kidding. Mostly just Germans. That's it. There was some other people, other Europeans and stuff, but like, it was just Germans. I remember thinking, I wonder how German could ever be useful to me, Mom. I don't know. Time to make friends, I guess. And all week I was just meeting awesome people. Just having a great time, and I was equipped. They didn't all speak English or French, so I was able to at least get the ball rolling with them, you know, and open up a Discord and just go. So the trip ends, and I'm feeling great, I'm feeling relaxed, but my vacation is not over. No. This is where, like, okay, the coincidence here is like, wow, what are the chances that an entire hotel speaks German where I go to stay and I'm not in Germany? You know, it's, wow. Okay, I picked the right language to learn for this vacation, it seems. But no, the trip is not over, the vacation's not over. You see, I have a 2-week vacation, and I had planned another trip with a buddy of mine upon my return from Cuba. And it was a camping trip, so we were going to go hiking up in the big national park just north of us and chill for a few days. So a day after I returned from Cuba, we drove off into the wilderness. A few hours of driving later, we entered the park and made our way to a lodge that had some rangers in it. They registered us for the campground, you know, okay, these people are here just in case they go missing, etc., you know, the whole spiel for going hiking in a park. Dangers of the region like bears, wolves, coyotes, bobcats, all that stuff that's up there. You know, just be careful, here's how to spot them, blah, 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 you know, that whole thing. I mean, I grew up in the woods, so I'm fairly well versed in how not to unalive yourself. So we make our way to the cabin shack thing and set ourselves up. I want to call it a cabin shack thing because it was not quite a shack, but not quite a cabin and not quite a chalet. It was a weird middle ground. Anyway, it was a nice, comfortable little place. But so we set ourselves up. There isn't a soul around. Like, I mean, the park is practically empty. There are people here in the park, but like we're very far apart, and this park is huge. So there's like nobody here. Except for this one cabin, just like ours, that is like 50 meters from us. So just a little bit down the hill, but there's no one there. It's empty. So I was like, hey, cool, we got this place all to ourselves. So we got ready, locked up, and we went for like a 3-hour hike. It was great. Got to the top of a mountain. Well, a foothill, because we don't really have mountains here. I went to Alberta. Those are mountains. These are foothills. But we call them mountains, but they're not mountains. These are foothills. The view was incredible, though. I really loved it, and I was feeling super relaxed. On that hike, conversation came up, and I told my buddy all about the experience in Cuba and about the conversation with my mother and the coincidence, and he kept telling me that is a crazy coincidence, man. And I kind of felt like, yeah, like lately that sort of thing has been happening a lot. Like, I keep running into German people. So we were heading back to our cabin, and we set up for some dinner and noticed that the cabin next to us had a campfire going. The people that had rented it had arrived. It was a couple. Eventually the man came over to ask if we wanted to join them for a beer and just by the campfire and have some fun and talk. And that's when my buddy looked at me with wide eyes in disbelief, and I had this shit-eating grin on my face. This man who had approached us had one of the thickest German accents I've ever heard in my entire life. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere in my home country, and he and his girlfriend are traveling around the world and happen to drop in on the only cabin next to mine in this massive national park, hours away from any civilization. Needless to say, I could easily bridge that communication gap, and yeah, without any issues, we just basically were like, hey, let's get together and have a great time. So we shared our supplies with each other, and we were just talking around the fire and getting to know each other and where they're from, where we're from, etc. And just, it was a great time. Occasionally there was communication issues, like they didn't know the words. I was able to kind of C-3PO myself and just kind of be like, oh, that's this or that's that, and it's like, that's how you say this. So it was very useful, and again, great people. And eventually I told them that about this story up to this point, and they were like, you know, that mic is I don't think I could imitate it, but it's like that is the universe's way of telling you have to come see our country. And it's like I can't not laugh when I see that. But yeah, they were like, yeah, you've got to come come visit our country. Heck, you gotta come visit us over there when we get back. That sounds fantastic, you know, let's do that. And so I had planned to actually go and visit Germany, because I was like, okay, everything in the universe keeps slapping me with this and saying, you know what, just go visit, Mike. You know, you've got it, you're good, you'll have a good time. And apparently the food's really good there, so I'm gonna be very happy. But sadly, the big Padme 19 happened, and well, travel took a back seat. Still, to this day, I can't really believe that happened, and all within like a very short time span of each other. So what are the chances that those events lined up, and in the middle of nowhere, and like going to Cuba, and okay, that's on me. I didn't notice that I had booked that hotel. I wasn't thinking about that. It was like the universe was telling my mom, yeah, well, I think you're wrong. he's doing okay. he picked a good one for his situation currently. I've since lost a lot of my German, because I don't really have many friends to talk to that speak German, so I just don't have the language strength anymore, but I can still get by, though I would be certainly happy to pick it up again. Anyway, that's the story for today, guys. I know it's nothing super crazy, but I thought it was a rather interesting coincidence and series of events that have, you know, occurred in my life. I wanted to share that with you guys. Has anything like that happened to you? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye for now.